Ladies and gentlemen and Java programmers, we're going to add a method to our calculator. But first, before we do, what is a method? Write down the answer to that question in your notes. And let's see here. All right, so next, let's create a public method named add. And by the way, what is a method? A method is instructions that teaches your class or object how to do something. If you make a method definition, you're teaching it. If you're doing a method call, you're asking it to do the thing you just taught it to do. Okay, all right. So now we need to create a public method named add. It's going to return an integer. We'll call it sum. Is it void or non-void? So if it returns an int, is it void or non-void? Is it a command or a question? And the add method should accept two integer parameters, for example, int a and int b. Okay, see if you can do that first before you cheat off of me and copy my hard work. Okay, so we're going to add in a method, and here's the constructor method. Starts there and ends there, so it's going to go right after this, somewhere in here. So we're going to say public is public, but not there. What just happened? Oh, it's public. So it's public. We decided it was going to return an integer, and the name was add. And after that, you put in your curly braces, and we said that it was going to take two parameters. So they're both integer, int a, comma, int b. So if you ask it to add, you have to send the first number, which is a, and the second number, which is called b. All right, so there we go. Let's jump back to our spiel and see what it says. Okay. It may have an error. What is the problem? I don't know. What is? You have to answer that. Oh, you have to write that. That should be red. What's the problem? Answer that question in the notes. So what's the problem? So we have this error message. And what's the problem? Oh, it's missing a return statement. What does that mean? Well, it means that this thing says it's a question. Hey, what's the answer if I add up A and B? Well, we didn't return anything, right? So somebody asked you a question and you didn't answer the question. So it's saying, hey, you got to answer the question. So to satisfy that for right now, we'll say return, and we'll say just a random integer 5. Now, if we put in 2 and 2, that's 4, not 5. So this is always going to return the number 5. So that's just a placeholder to get rid of that little X that we were having right there. Okay. All right, let's keep going. It is non-void, and it is a question, that method we just did. So we have to answer the question. Again, that's why it was giving the error. Now we're going to create a variable called sum that holds whole numbers. We're going to add up a plus b and assign that to sum. And then we're going to make the method return the sum. So instead of returning 5, we're going to return the sum. So see if you can do that before you watch me do it. Okay, so we're going to say int sum equals a plus b. And that's supposed to be a semicolon. This would be a semicolon. Okay, and then so we're going to add up a and b. We're going to store it in sum, and then now we're going to return the sum. Okay, something like that. That should be good. I don't know why I have this extra space there. Let's get rid of that. Okay. All right, let's go back to the spiel and see what is next. Okay, add a comment above the add method with your name inside of it. And if you wanted to do a multi-line comment, you could. Probably don't need to, though. So let's go ahead and hop back here and something like that. Add a comment to it. This is the add method. That'll work good. All right, now let's see what's next on the agenda. And okay, so now we need to instantiate an instance of the calculator class, which means that we're going to go inside the main method. We're going to create a calculator object, and we're going to stash it in a variable called myCalculator. Okay, and we're going to use it to print out the value of calling the add method on my calculator. We're going to pass in 5 and 7 as parameters, and then we're going to add some comments before that. Okay, so what does all that? See if you can do that. This is real similar to what stuff that we did in Code Academy. So let's see what that's going to look like. So you try it before I show you. Okay, so we have to create a calculator object, right? So what's the type? Calculator. Okay, and then the name of the variable is my calculator. Equals, and what keyword are we going to put here? Equals a new calculator. Okay, so basically what we're doing is we're creating a box in the RAM called my calculator. The only thing that can go into it is a calculator. We're building a brand new calculator, sticking it inside. Okay, and what's the point of doing that? Well, we're going to use that calculator to calculate stuff. So we're going to say my calculator dot add, and we're going to say, what do we say? 5 and 7 or something like that. I don't think that matters. 5. No, I better do it. I better follow my own instructions. Huh? So 5 and 7. Okay, so 5, 7. And the only problem is we need to stick that somewhere. So I need to put a semicolon before I forget. So let's create a variable called. So we're going to say int new add, just some sort of. Okay, so we're creating a variable called new add. That's an integer. Hey, what's this? Oh, okay. Sorry. I forgot to. I was running my constructor, right? I was calling on my constructor, and we always have, whenever you call on a method, you have to say parentheses, semicolon. And I forgot to do that. Okay, so my calculator dot add 5, 7, and so we're going to say new. I'm going to say new add equals like that. Okay, and so that should work. So let's run it and see what it does. So it's 5 plus 7. Oh, we didn't print it. Let's go back to the instructions here. Okay, print out the value of calling the add method on my calculator, passing 5 and 7 as parameters. Okay, so let's jump back to it. And okay, so we say, okay, and so then we're going to use our classic system.out.println. And we're going to do, what are we going to print? New add. Okay. And then a semicolon, and we're going to run that. There we go. 5 plus 7 is 12. Good. Okay, so that worked out good. Let's jump back to our spiel and see how we're doing here. Oh, we got to add comments, and that's it. Okay, so let's go to. So we're going to add some comments here. Okay, we're going to create, that should be a capital C. Doesn't really matter on comments, but we should be exact. And then okay, something like that. All right, that's it so far. So far, so good. And that's it for part 2, and then we're going to